Hello, students! For those new to American History Live, I am Benjamin Franklin, an inventor, scientist, writer, and statesman, and I am often called the first American.
And I am Alexander Hamilton, soldier, lawyer, scholar, and founding father. And I'm also America's first Treasury Secretary.
I am Abigail Adams, wife and mother of United States presidents, writer, and founding mother.
My fellow statesman and friend, Patrick Henry, gave this speech, "Give me liberty or give me death," at a pivotal time in American history. Today, we will be discussing excerpts from the speech. We encourage you to read this entire speech on your own, though.
On March 23rd, 1775, Patrick Henry addressed the Second Virginia Convention. The Second Virginia Convention met in Richmond from March 20th through March 27th, 1775, to discuss the future of Virginia and whether it was time to seek independence from Great Britain.
Mr. Henry was not speaking before the House of Burgesses, the colonial legislature of Virginia, located in Williamsburg, Virginia. Why? Because the English royal governor had shut down their legislature. The convention was meeting in Richmond on the other side of Virginia to avoid British troop interference.
Now, this was the atmosphere of fear and dismay that surrounded Patrick Henry during his speech to his fellow 120 convention delegates.
In 1775, the American colonies were attempting to negotiate with the British to resolve issues with Parliament. Now, I wonder what issues were occurring during this time.
Of course, as students are sharing in the chat, there was taxation without representation. No taxation without representation. But there were also the troops being sent from England over to America to patrol our streets. And our local legislatures, such as Virginia, were also being shut down. We had no say even in our local government.
And many at the Virginia Convention believed in the negotiations and wanted to wait and see for the independence question. Patrick Henry, on the other hand, believed that conflict was inevitable and that the British government would not be reasonable, that independence was indeed the future of America.
All of those who supported the American independence movement recognized the importance of Virginia. Virginia was the largest, most populous, and one of the wealthiest colonies. Virginia would be required for independence to take place.
And 1775 was the turning point in the question of independence. The American colonies would move from diplomacy and opposition to British oppression to military preparedness, which very well could be considered treason.
Now, let us look at the speech that not only inspired Virginia, but an entire new nation. Patrick Henry begins his speech with, "No man thinks more highly than I do of the patriotism, as well as the abilities of the very worthy gentlemen who have just addressed the House."
The individuals who had spoken before Mr. Henry were against seeking independence. Why do you think Mr. Henry started his speech this way if he is going to disagree with them?
Of course, just because you don't agree with someone, you should be civil. If you want to change someone's mind, you have to approach them with respect.
And now Mr. Henry goes on to say, "But different men often see the same subject in different lights, and therefore I hope it will not be thought disrespectful to those gentlemen if, entertaining as I do, opinions of character very opposite to theirs, I shall speak forth my sentiments freely and without reserve. This is no time for ceremony. The question before the House is one of awful moment for this country. For my own part, I consider it nothing less than a question of freedom or slavery.
This is not the speech of an abolitionist. This is freedom from what the colonists saw as oppression from the British government. Remember, the House was meeting in Richmond because the royal governor, an appointee of the British government, had shut down their legislature in Williamsburg.
Continuing later in the speech, Mr. Henry shares the grievances that the colonists have.
So, Mr. Henry continues, and judging by the past, I wish to know what there has been in the conduct of the British ministry for the last 10 years to justify the hopes with which the gentlemen have been pleased to solace themselves and the House. Ask yourselves how this gracious reception of our petition comports with these warlike preparations which cover our waters.
We did not begin with violence against the British. They did.
So, the response of the British government? Well, Mr. Henry continues. Are fleets and armies necessary to a work of love and reconciliation? Have we shown ourselves so unwilling to be reconciled that force must be called in to win back our love? Its purpose be not to force us with submission.
The British were prepared to force their will on the colonies by any means necessary.
And Mr. Henry now asks, what have we to oppose them? Shall we try argument? Sit, we have been trying that for the last 10 years. We have petitioned, we have remonstrated, and we have supplicated. We have prostrated ourselves before the throne and have implored its interposition to arrest the tyrannical hands of the ministry and parliament. But our petitions have been slighted. Our remonstrances have produced additional violence and insult. Our supplications have been disregarded, and we have been spurned with contempt from the foot to the throne.
Peaceful protests, such as boycotts, were met with steep punishments. What is a boycott?
Students, you are correct. It is refusing to buy a good to try to get a change.
So, therefore, Patrick Henry shares, in vain after these things, may we indulge the fond hope of peace and reconciliation? There is no longer room for hope. If we wish to be free, if we mean to preserve, inviolate those inestimable privileges for which we have been so long contending, if we mean not basely to abandon the noble struggle in which we have so long engaged, and which we have pledged ourselves never to abandon until the glorious object of our contest shall be obtained, we must fight. I repeat, we must fight. Will it be when we are totally disarmed, and when a British guard shall be stationed in every house? Shall we gather strength by irresolution or inaction?
The time for peace had passed. It would not be an easy road, but the road to liberty was clear.
Mr. Henry shared. 3 millions of people armed in the holy cause of liberty, and in such a country as we possess, are invincible by any force which our enemy can send against us.
So did this mean we would gain independence without any hardship at all?
Of course not. The road to independence would be difficult, but we would persevere, according to Mr. Henry.
Indeed. So, as Mr. Henry shared, the battle is not to the strong alone. It is to the vigilant, the active, and the brave. It is now too late to retire from the contest. There is no retreat, but in submission and slavery. Gentlemen may cry, "Peace, peace," but there is no peace. The war is actually begun.
The actions of both the colonists and the British were on a collision course to war.
And now, for the end of Patrick Henry's speech, one that inspired this generation to fight for its independence. Is life so dear, or peace so sweet, as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery? Forbid it, Almighty God! I know not what course others may take, but as for me, give me liberty, or give me death.
This speech was published and shared across the colonies. 27 days later, the shot heard round the world occurred with the battles of Lexington and Concord.
Patrick Henry and I developed a strong friendship from here, sharing ideas and helping each other support the American independence movement. Now, although he was the governor of Virginia, and therefore did not sign the Declaration of Independence, he fully supported the United States independence movement, and he continued to serve his state and new country for the remainder of his life.
We want to thank everyone who was able to join us today, and we hope everyone can continue to join us next week for George Washington's farewell address. But before we end, I am going to do a little trivia with you, and let's see if Mr. Franklin or Mr. Hamilton maybe knows the answers to some of these questions as well. What do you think, gentlemen?
Oh, yes, indeed.
Okay, some first famous quote, and I think everyone who was on this class can definitely answer this question. Fill in the blank. Give me blank or give me death.
I know this one. I know this one.
Okay, Mr. Franklin.
It's give me liberty or give me death.
That is correct. And of course, who said this famous line?
Well, that was Mr. Patrick Henry, of course.
Very good, students. All right, number 2. I think this is a really easy one as well. No blank without representation.
Oh, I know.
The rallying cry of the independence movement.
I know.
Mr. Hamilton, go ahead.
That would be no taxation without representation.
Very good. All right. Very, very good. And of course, it appeared all over the colonies.
Yeah, I mean, that's skull raise. Yeah.
All right. Very good. Now, let's see how many of you remember from our class last week a quote from myself in a letter that I wrote to John, my husband, during the difficult times of the American independence movement. Great difficulties may be surmounted by patience and blank. Any ideas? This seems to be a little harder. It starts with a P. So it's patience and, oh, Mr. Hamilton, great, go ahead.
Perseverance?
That is correct. Perseverance.
Very good, Mr. Hamilton.
Yes.
Very good. You know, in life, when difficulties come, and of course, what America was facing in 1775 was going to be great difficulty. Patience and perseverance pay off. And if you keep fighting for what you believe in, anything is possible. So thank you for joining us again today. Please come back when we discuss George Washington's farewell address written by Alexander Hamilton himself.
Woohoo!
So thank you and have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yes, thank you all for attending. Farewell.